Good morning, Paul.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty good. Holy smokes,
313.
313.
Wow. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, in all honesty, we rewatched this yesterday.
Yeah.
I spent an inordinate amount of time between yesterday and now thinking about the McGrady family reunion.
You cried. Sarah cried. If you want to go enjoy the rewatch with us, Sarah broke into tears, burst into tears.
It so got me. My level of angst around
Whether
is
McGrady
going to make it was higher than. I'm sort of ashamed to say this, but higher than anybody else, because he's the true innocent.
You care about McGrady more
because he feels like he's just genuinely done nothing wrong. Additionally, my final hat of the season, I think I've worn 13 different hats.
You're impressive. That's impressive.
This one, well, half of them are my husband's. They're the dirty ones.
That's just impressive organization.
This is from the season 4. It was the season 4 wrap gift.
I didn't get a season 4 wrap gift, even though I'm in season 4.
Well, if it makes you feel better, it's too small. So I have like a throbbing
headache.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
exciting.
You're sacrificing for the pod, and
you got to suffer for your art.
Art?
It's a show about art.
Fair.
I mean, it's pretentious to call TV art, but like,
that's not.
This is the greatest American art form of the 21st century, right?
No.
No?
No.
Most popular.
Well.
Greatest by the numbers. Maybe not. I haven't actually done the numbers.
Sorry,
guys. I was promised there'd be no math.
Well, I want to say that this episode is sponsored by Hulu.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Hulu.
And I want to tell you that we've come to the long, winding, violent road.
We really have.
End of Sona prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farewell, Sona. We hardly knew you.
Because we didn't.
Because, we didn't. We weren't in it.
No. Thank goodness. Kind of looked unpleasant. I mean, would have been fun to be there.
It looked hot.
Yeah.
But that could have been because all of the spray bottles. I love the
bottles.
Recurring theme of the Evian spray bottles.
And I love that everyone mentioned it. Everyone's like, oh, I remember the spray bottles.
Like most of the guest stars were like, the weirdest thing about working on the show?
Yeah, spray bottles.
Yeah. Anyway, so our final Palestine index.
Yeah.
Wait, how many beverages are you drinking from right now? Because usually you've got at least 2 or 3 going. 1, 2. There's more. I love this. Paul is the best hydrated person.
Drinking my lava lamp.
That we know.
Okay. Are you ready for the Palestine Index?
Index us. Go for it.
Episode 313, The Art of the Deal, aired February 18, 2008, and was directed by Nelson McCormick, written by Matt Olmstead and Seth Hoffman. It attracted 7.4 million U.S. viewers, which tied with the previous episode for the highest rating of Season 3. Season 3 finale aired against ABC Dance War, Bruno versus Carrie Ann, which I still think is
Bruno
Sacha
Mars.
Baron Cohen. No, I think it's Sacha Baron Cohen. And Carrie Ann Moss or
Carrie. I think it should be Carrie with the
movie.
blood all over her face.
I was thinking Carrie from Sex and the City, but all of it works.
All of it's great.
CBS showed a repeat episode of How I Met Your Mother and a new episode of Welcome to the Captain, and NBC aired Deal or No Deal.
In world events, our time capsule, in Toronto, Canada, coming to you live right now from the other side of Canada, the Spice Girls had their last performance for their Return of the Spice Girls tour on February 26th, 2008. They told you what they wanted.
And they really, really wanted to stop.
They really, really wanted to stop.
They were like, ugh, we're tired.
Fair enough.
So wait, were the Spice Girls a late 90s phenomenon?
They must have been.
2008.
The reunion tour, or the return.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. Like, how long had they been gone?
I feel like I was in high school when the Spice Girls started. Anyway, there's probably an entire generation of women who know Victoria Beckham as a fashion designer.
Oh, I'm
Spice
sure.
Girl, which is
yes.
wild. Also, at this time, Blu-rays began making their triumph over HD DVDs after Toshiba claimed to stop making and promoting HD DVD players on February 19th. That is something that has been probably less well remembered than the Spice Girls Blu-rays.
And the Blu-ray revolution really got its ass kicked by streaming.
Yeah.
Although I know a lot of people that still, buy Blu-rays and collect physical media. Anyway,
do they really?
Sure.
Oh, it's funny. I still
end
think of
times
Blu-ray
they'll be
as
able to
new
watch
media.
TV.
I mean, I've got a VHS player, so I'm going to be fine.
Yeah,
Anything that was made before 1990, I can watch. The 80th Annual Academy Awards were hosted by Jon Stewart.
I love this.
Which is so good. Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor for Il y aura du sang, There Will Be Blood. Marion Cotillard won Best Actress for La Vie en Rose. I'm doing this is my Pepe Le Pew accent. And No Country for Old Men won Best Picture.
And I would just like to point out, since we're recording this before Oscar weekend 26,
Oscars are in like 5 days.
Yeah, which I can tell when I try to drive through Hollywood.
Oh.
That the Best Picture nominees in 2008 were There Will Be Blood, Atonement, No Country for Old Men, Juno, and Michael Clayton. I mean, 3 of my all-time films.
Those are some
all-time favorites are in there.
Extraordinary films.
3 of my all-time favorite films.
Which are the 2 you don't love as much? Michael Clayton?
No, I love Michael Clayton.
Okay, sorry.
Juno and Atonement can eat it. No, that's fine. I'm fine with them. But there will be blood, No Country, and
Michael Clayton. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I loved Juno. I really, really loved Juno.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like it had a big impact on Michael Cera's career. Like, I feel like Juno was one of the things that kind of gave. Speaking of Canadians.
Really?
Just in Toronto. Michael Cera?
Yeah.
I think he's Canadian.
That tracks. He seems so
nice and funny. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Before we dive back into today's episode, a quick reminder, every episode of Prison Break is streaming only on Hulu. Relive the iconic edge-of-your-seat drama that's literally responsible for our podcast's existence.
And it holds up after all these years. Michael Scofield's elaborate plan to save his brother from death row, still one of the most jaw-dropping plots in TV history.
And the beauty is you can watch it however you want. Start from episode 1 and experience the epic story unfolding from the very beginning, or skip straight to your favorite season. If you're looking for a recommendation, many say season 3 is criminally underrated. Let's find out.
There's a reason we're still talking about this show 20 years later. From the unforgettable twists and legendary characters to the nail-biter drama. Watch it all on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply. You want to recap the...
Oh, boy, do I. This is quite a recap.
Yeah.
This is such a recap that we're going to share it.
Yeah. It's a 2-person recap.
Yeah, 2-person recap. After escaping the brutal Panamanian prison Sona, Michael Scofield and Lincoln Burrows chase down James Whistler, who tried to run after the escape. They eventually capture him and arrange a deal with Gretchen, also known as Susan B. Whistler will be traded in exchange for Lincoln's son LJ and Sophia, who Gretchen is holding hostage. Michael and Lincoln complete the exchange, freeing LJ and Sophia. However, it becomes clear that Whistler is more deeply involved with the company than anyone realized.
Way to go, Sophia, for figuring that out. Back in Sona prison, Sucre is punished for helping with the escape attempt. Guards beat him and force him to dig his own grave, which was so hard to watch.
Upsetting.
Even threatening him to bury him alive. I'm sorry, they almost did. It was like everything.
I know, and we have to talk about that. I have a note about it.
We really do. They threatened to bury him alive when he refuses to reveal Michael's plan. Meanwhile, Teabag manipulates the power structure inside Sona and begins positioning himself as a new leader.
Also, meanwhile, Alexander Mahone is outside Sona and struggling with withdrawal and guilt. By the end of the episode, he's approached by Whistler and Gretchen and is invited to join their larger conspiracy involving the company.
What you just said, Whistler and Gretchen invited him to join their larger conspiracy. For some reason, I think it mashed up in my head with the Spice Girls thing. And in my mind, they were like, oh my God, you guys, we have this
larger conspiracy.
Do you want to be a part of, you're going to love it. Wait, I'm going to be the sporty one. You're going to be the brooding one.
Did you have a favorite?
No, I did not follow the Spice Girls.
One of them was a mom at school, which was The
at the
object
school that you had a
sorry,
kid at?
that I have, yes,
Okay.
years ago when they were little ones, and
wild.
it somehow was a controversy. You know, it was like I don't know.
The fact that she was a Spice Girl was a controversy?
No, there was this particular Spice Girl I think was in the news for all the wrong reasons quite a bit, and it was
fair. Scandalous. No, I remember I was actually thinking back for some reason. I was talking to a friend of mine from high school, and I was obsessed with this singer who I think was Polish. And so was my really, really good friend, Erin. And we were so excited. She came to Hawaii, which nobody ever does. We went to a concert, which I don't do. I'm not a concert person.
Me neither.
And we showed up there. Yeah, too many people.
Too many people.
Too many people, and if you have to pee, it takes 40 minutes. Like a life's too short.
Also, I want to watch. Okay, come on. Sorry, we can talk about that later.
Yeah. But this was like at the Hawaii Shell, which is like an outdoor auditorium, and you can pay for the expensive seats and sit in them, or you can pay for the cheap seats, which is way better, and it's just like a lawn. And you just put a blanket down, and you bring your food, and it's lovely.
Poplar Creek, that was called in Chicago.
Yeah, or like Ravinia, like one of those.
Yeah,
one of those things.
How do you know about Ravinia? You lived in Chicago for a year. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that must have been it. Anyway, Erin and I realized when we showed up that we were the only two people under 50 because the singer was Basha. And we loved her. She had this amazing voice and she was sort of like poetic.
Did she sing in Polish?
No, it was all in English. She had this song called like Now Is the Time for Me or something that was like a soft rock hit or something. I don't even know.
I'm sorry. I love you, but how old were you?
I was like 16.
Oh my God.
I know.
Sarah.
I did also go to a James Taylor concert when I was 17, which is maybe the same age group. I only go to concerts with people who are about to be eligible for AARP.
That is really charming and funny.
And pathetic, and that's why I don't have a favorite Spice Girl. Yeah.
That is, wow.
Yeah. You're being really nice about this. Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
16-year-old Sarah, I kind of imagine you might have been a dork.
Oh, 100%. Pure dork. Nothing but dork.
But I don't want to get too much into your personal life, but like a beautiful, smart dork. Like it must have been confusing.
No, well,
boys.
also in Hawaii, nobody's interested in a Holly girl, right? So like it didn't matter.
Right. Okay.
Did not matter at all.
Outcast?
No, theater dork. Choir nerd.
Oh, there you go. Got it.
I had a whole posse of people.
Yeah. Okay. Theater dork.
We were just not popular or cute.
No, theater dork.
Yeah, totally theater dork. I remember texting you a photo like a month or two ago. I was in New York City for very briefly. I stayed at my favorite hotel, and they had the New York Times. And I was looking through the Sunday New York Times, and I got to the art section. And there was a headline of an article that said something like, how theater nerd became an insult, how drama nerd became an insult.
Oh, yeah, you did send it to me.
And I was incensed. There was so much to be mad about in that newspaper. And I was like, how dare you, sir? I'll say, how dare you? I clutched all the pearls.
Also, sorry, not an insult.
So not an insult. Not an insult. It means we're more creative and more resilient to people not liking us.
Yeah, and at my school, it wasn't like, I mean, you could be on the baseball team and in the musical.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, we did. There were no.
I remember the very first play I ever did in high school was As You Like It. And there was a matinee performance that I think like coincided with senior prom or something. More people in the cast than in the audience. We were like,
oh no, they had to triple.
Okay.
Sometimes they triple cast the plays because so many people wanted to do them.
Yeah, no.
Billy Zane.
We were in a movie together. I never met him. Yeah.
He was a senior when I was a freshman, and I think he missed half the year because he was already modeling for Armani. I mean, he was one of the most extraordinary looking human beings. All right, let's talk about this crazy episode. Sarah, I will just say, for those who want to go rewatch it with us, or who didn't rewatch it with us, I should say, Sarah was really losing her mind about what was
Verklempt.
going to happen. Yeah, well, I would say actually unspilkas. We're going to use the Yiddish.
I'm afraid I'm not Jewish enough to know what that means.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It means real nervous.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
About,
Super duper.
Oh, yeah. About, I would say you got verklempt when McGrady got home, but you were unspilkas waiting to see if he was going to make it.
Yeah. Really upset. Really upset.
Which, means they did their job.
They did a great job. Nelson McCormick directed a beautiful episode.
Also, we talked about this. We'll talk about it in the next episode a little bit. But as Sarah so keenly aware the whole season, or halfway through the season, I should say, that strike was looming, and they thought they had 13. They thought they had 22 episodes to tell a story, and then they had 13.
Oh my God, there's so many loose ends to tie up.
Just like you got to wrap it up.
What about Whistler? What about Mahone? What about Sucre?
God.
What about Bellick? What about Teabag? What about Lechero? What about McGrady? What about Michael and Lincoln and Sophia? Like Gretchen. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
We did, just in my head, we're sort of starting at the top. That car chase.
Yeah. Crazy.
Was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Feels like they had the actors in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember when we talked to Eric Norris and we're like, how did you? And he's like, we just kind of did it. It was Texas.
Fuck, man.
Because the car chases in season 4, if memory serves, were a little different. And it was still Eric Norris.
A little more clamped down. Oh, you also think it's because we're in Los Angeles and not in Texas? Yeah.
I mean, I think things were a little bit different in LA, shooting in LA. But it was, not only was it felt very real, but it was shot beautifully.
It was shot tight.
Felt like it was tight and flares and lots of depth. I love the way Nelson shoots.
Yeah. That's Nelson McCormick, our director.
Yeah, who directed me in Colony too. I think he was our producing director, season 1. He's just a fantastic guy. He's got a good, relaxed energy, and you can kind of see it in everybody's work.
There's also, a lot of House of Buys in this episode. There's a lot of things that you're
yeah.
A lot of chest wounds from high-powered rifles. That they're like, ah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
There's a lot of people that would have been blown to bits that are just kind of limping around.
Yep. Which we're all fine with because we know, that's
graphic novel land.
Graphic novel land. I mean, I was also really charmed. We're kind of jumping around here.
What we do.
The jump around.
Oh, no.
I loved the moment with Sophia and Whistler. Here's what I loved about it. I love that the dime drops and she puts it all together and is like, hang on. You're not just a simple fisherman, which to be fair, we all knew, but she's the one who does the math that they're working for the company, which is actually a really giant moment. And then my other favorite thing about that moment is Gretchen's reaction.
Oh, it's so mean. I feel like she takes enjoyment out of the humiliation of it.
Well, totally fair. I also what I loved about it was her being like, "Oh, we don't have time for that. We're doing this now." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's can you have your relationship crisis when there are fewer people with guns?
We got to he's not. Yeah, sorry, you got to go.
Yeah, we have to do this later.
I enjoy Michael breaking things with his elbow.
So much.
With his suede jacket.
So
very
much.
I have a feeling if I ever broke a window like that, I would just be dead in 30 seconds because I would slice an artery.
I also wonder how thick the glass is. I feel like if I went up to any museum glass and went like this, I would just break my elbow and the glass would be fine.
Right.
But again, House of Buys, and I'm here for it. It doesn't bother me.
Have you ever broken a window on purpose?
No. I mean, on TV, a bunch, but a real window? Thrown a flower pot through it?
Uh-huh. Close.
Really? Have you done that? Oh, my God.
Recently. Way more recently than you would think.
Wait. Why?
Car window.
You threw a flower pot through a car window?
I threw a piece of asphalt. But, car windows won't break
Keep
anymore.
talking until this makes sense.
They won't break anymore.
Did it just bounce back and hit you on the toe?
Essentially. It's a funny
Did you
story.
get into the car?
Yes. I got into the car as it was like, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, may I help you? And I was like, God damn it. After like 30 minutes in like 104-degree heat, no shoes, no shirt, no service.
No, wait. I'm sorry. You have to keep talking until this story makes sense.
So I locked my keys in my car.
Where were you with
At
no
the
shirt?
beach
And
on Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
I went fishing and I went way out.
Right. Because
And
you're
then
just a simple fisherman.
Because I'm just a simple fisherman, and I hiked through the marsh, and I got down to the beach, and I was like, this isn't quite the right spot. It's too hot, and I need like da-da-da-da. And I went back, and I realized that when I changed into my
Yeah.
swim shorts in the back, like I was at the hatchback, and I threw my shorts in the back, and
Right.
and there was no, like, almost no service. Like, it was the whole deal.
Amazing.
Also, island time. They're like, yeah, we'll find you.
So,
Yeah, Brooke it.
okay, that's amazing. In my mind, because we just watched this episode, this whole thing takes place on the beach in Panama. Like, as I'm staging it,
Oh, yeah.
You're like
Teabag
in
was
the-
coming down one side, and then
and it's a Volkswagen Bug,
I also wanted
a
to
Beetle.
point out that when is it 313 where Teabag get left on the beach? No, it's not. 401.
That's for one.
Talk about it later.
You asked if I'd ever been shot on camera.
Yes, I would like. It's germane. So many people shot.
So many people shot.
It's horrible.
Well, but it's all like
Gun
it's
violence.
kind
so
of the
TV.
show. It's the show. Although, actually, before we talk about that, the violence that Sucre
That was really upsetting.
suffers. I feel like we were both like when they handed him the shovel, we're like, they're not going to make him dig his own.
Also, when they beat him up, he was beat up. It was more graphic than a lot of Prison Break beat ups seemed. He seemed
Yeah.
really fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he plays it really well as well. But
Yeah.
Cut up.
Oh, and the cut. That was the other thing that like I felt so emotionally manipulated because I'm sitting here weeping because McGrady was just reunited with
Oh.
his family.
Yeah.
And they cut from him like looking
like,
up at this basketball hoop that's like, this is so beautiful. And the next cut is Sucre buried alive except for his face.
Like dirt hitting him in the.
Like dirt hitting him in the face. I was, by the way, I haven't asked him about this, but I would have been very claustrophobic in that situation.
I don't like that kind of thing. Here's my question.
Ugh.
You think it's all real? You think when they put it on your face and your head, it's dirt, or do you think it's like something else? I guess what else is it going to be?
What else it could be? I mean, I think it's probably like clean dirt. You know what I mean? Like it came out of a
Yeah,
bag and it's
I love
sterilized,
that.
and then he
they're
doesn't
like,
get
it's
some
clean
kind
dirt.
of.
They're like, it's clean dirt. Eat it.
By the way, the other thing that stressed me out, and it was interesting. I've got all these emotions around Teabag. I realize as we're watching this, and like I get mad at being asked to be sympathetic towards him. Because I've got this really weird, like psychological condition where I hate pedophiles, and
You're really just not an empath.
yeah, I my heart's too small. What can I say? There was a moment when it looked like Teabag was being genuinely loyal to Lechero,
I thought that was really cool.
and it pissed me off. I was like, so help me God, if this becomes a loyalty arc about
Right.
Teabag and this.
I bought it. You didn't buy it. I totally bought it.
I bought it at the beginning, and then there's a thing that Robert does where he like just turns his head a little, and I was like, oh, there it is. That's the Teabag, like, now how do I
Nepper
get
does,
this?
not Robert Wisdom. Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, Robert Nepper. That I was like, okay, here it comes. And I felt more settled. I was like, phew, he's a piece of shit. I can hate him. He's not trustworthy. Did want to have an intervention for the
I
nurse.
thought it would have been a
but
cool turn, but I also I thought it would have been a cool turn because I thought, oh, he's going to try. Although I'm so dumb because they're not going to be in Sona very long. So I thought it was going to be a cool.
we didn't know that.
Well, it's the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought you're right. He could have been for 2 acts. He could have been. That it was a cool move that he was like, by ingratiating myself to the dying king, then I will become king.
I mean, it felt like it was an episode very much about loyalty to me. Like Sucre's extraordinary loyalty to Michael,
Extraordinary.
not breaking, like snapping the phone in half when Michael
great.
calls, like all of these moments of like amazing loyalty. And I mean, this isn't surprising, but like McGrady's father being, like such a great dad in that moment.
Yep.
The tension of Sophia's loyalty to Whistler finally pulled to the breaking point.
Whistler's really a fucking weenie. I think I like him because he has an accent and he's handsome. And
I dated that guy once.
It's kind of a Chris Vance?
No. You're like, I think I like him because he's got an accent and he's handsome.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hang on.
You're a scumbag.
You're boring as a bag of hair.
Yeah.
But I still don't really know. I think we find out in 401 more, but I still don't really understand Whistler's.
No. We don't know. I was going to say, unless, we're going to find out, right? Like, what is his role?
Kinda. I mean, we rewatched 313 and 401 together, so I have the information I have from 401, but I still don't really know.
Well, I feel like we can talk about the efficacy of this. Thank you.
Efficacy? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That the arc or the tension of season 3 was, is this guy simple fisherman?
So that's a clearly no, but
clearly a no. And then, like, is he company? Is he not company? I think was the question, even though it really seemed like he was company.
Well, I mean,
and then in season 4, it's going to be, who the fuck are you? I guess it's just kind of the same thing.
I'm still not sure I understand. I mean, I think the whole thing, right? The knife's edge for all of season 3.
Ooh.
What's that?
Love that expression.
Oh, good. Excuse me.
Bless you.
The knife's edge is all about, like, is he someone Michael is willing to break out? And having to convince Michael that he's just an innocent. Because if he works for the company, Michael's going to be like, we're going to live in Sona for the rest of our lives. Like, I'm not doing this. They already killed Sarah.
Okay, that's well said. Yes.
And now they have LJ, so that's obviously, Lincoln's going to fight for that. But it feels like there's a moment where Michael almost says, I will fight no more forever. Like, I'm done with all of this. But then he's convinced that breaking Whistler out, that Whistler's an innocent. And I think what we figure out very quickly is that he's not. But I still don't know quite what he really is. Which is probably because we talk so much during our rewatches. And we're busy saying things that they're big.
That's the fun of watching TV with you.
It's so much fun. It's great.
You want to take a break and do some fan questions?
I do, but I do also just first want to give a shout out to that amazing song that played at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
The Crying cover.
Roy Orbison Crying.
Oh, man.
Sung in Spanish a cappella.
So beautifully. I don't know if that was Nelson that found that. I don't know if that was the music supervisor.
Amazing.
But it like made the last act for me.
Yeah, I love that. I also love a Act 5 montage.
Yeah, with a song and a like, where are all they?
Where's everybody? Where are all they?
Yeah. I didn't even realize that was not.
Where are all they?
Where are they all? Now, then, here and
now.
I think it's a great idea to take a break. I think
okay.
That's a really good
we'll be right back
break.
with some fan questions.
We will.
If Sarah, that's you, had come back from the dead 7 years after the season 3 finale, what do you think those years would have been like for her and Michael? How do you think they might have found their way back to each other? See any similarities to season 5? Go don't quite understand.
I think. Okay, here's what I wonder about that. And I'm not trying to shirk the question, but I think it really depends on where she's been. So if the story is she escaped Gretchen, she's been on the run for 7 years.
Wow. Right.
That's a very different question than if she's been in the company's custody the whole time. I mean, 7 years is a really long time. And I know Michael and Sarah are unique in each other's lives, but they haven't known each other 7 years. They haven't known each other, I don't think,
We've known each other 7 months.
Yeah. And so, like, and they didn't, it's not like in those 7 months they like moved in together and figured out what their Hulu profiles were. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you love crime shows. I like rom-coms. Like, man, this is a question you ask me this 6 different days, you get a different answer. There's a cynical part of me that says they see each other and they go, oh, you're the guy I could have loved if life hadn't turned me into somebody who has been so hidden and so guarded and so broken in the last 7 years that I don't know if I can even, like, I don't even know what healing would look like at this point. But then there's another part of me that's like, I don't know, maybe she made it to Greece and like worked it like wherever Mamma Mia takes place.
Grease
and like
stuff.
opened a
Maybe she did Grease stuff.
bed and breakfast. And yeah, and like one day in he rolls and she goes,
Like the end of the Bourne Identity.
you're the reason I never, yes. Something like that. Like I think there's a bunch of different versions, but I think I'd be either lying or pandering to say I think no matter what happens in 7 years, they see each other and fall back into each other's arms.
Yeah.
Here's a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Feel free to not answer this. Do you have anybody in your life where you're like, you know, if we'd gone right instead of left? Like, not even that you're like holding a candle for, and I'm not asking you to name names, but like, not really? That's kind of cool. That means it feels like you chased down every lead and you're, you know, psyched with where you're at.
I don't think anybody, oh, wait. Yes. But what I always consider it is, I always consider it like a relationship that you had that didn't work out where you're like, oh, that could have worked out if the timing was different, if this, that. No, I'm thinking of a couple people. One particular
that you never even got together.
We never even were romantic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that person could have been
the
second Mrs. Mrs. Edelstein.
You could be paying alimony now.
You could be my second. No, I'm kidding.
By the way, did I tell you I once introduced my husband as my first husband and thought it was hilarious? And my sense of humor can get, as you know, very, very dark. I try and keep it off of this podcast.
He was not attached. Not attached, not amused.
Happy about it. He waited until we were home. He's like, what was that about? I was like, I thought it was funny. He's like, I don't. And I was like, you know what?
Am I making it up? Yo, you didn't. You guys got together so early. You didn't have
forever. We've been together.
You didn't have a starter marriage.
I didn't have a starter marriage. No, I was 19 when I met my husband.
Yeah. I did meet a theater director of some renown. Introduced his wife as his current wife.
That's so savage.
By the way, they're not married anymore.
Well, I mean, did she leave him that night?
I mean, seriously.
There's something to be said for it. Okay, before we wrap up with our final question this season, do you have a top line thought of this entire season that we saw for the first time that we watched together, chatting?
I feel like, and from what I've seen from 4,
which is
I feel like it's a different. The show is different.
Yeah,
like the pace and the tone of seasons 1 and 2, which Season 2 was always so remarkable to me that they were no longer in prison, and it very much had the same tone to me. Season 3 seems like not a departure, but a kind of like, it's on kind of, it's in hyperdrive, and there's more turns and twists per square inch. Feels like to me, it's a little more out there. It's a little more fantastical. And I think 4 is also that way. So it just feels like, which I totally get in the evolution of, telling this story over 5 seasons. But it feels like there's a demarcation between seasons 2 and 3.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I find myself, there are exceptions like McGrady, but by and large, really invested in the people I knew in season 1. And I mean, like, I love the Sophia of it all. I find myself having a slightly harder time connecting to the company narrative. I think because season 1 is so small and so specific and so detail oriented. One man trying to get one guy out of prison who needs an Allen wrench, who needs to solve it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But the things that are connected to that original thing still matter to me.
Such minutia, yeah.
Sucre as his cellmate, like Teabag as the arch nemesis, Bellic as this, man who is utterly shaped by what's happening around him, not any kind of internal compass. Like, these things matter to me, and when I see it on screen, I'm curious to see where it goes. Like the revolting, fawning Teabag, the groveling Bellic. I'm like, it was really fascinating to watch and kind of staggering how different it was. And I was really compelled by it. I find myself having a harder time connecting to the what about the company side of it all, which is just kind of interesting. And over the years, I've heard fans, they come up to you at conventions and stuff and they're like, I've seen the show 8 times. Season 1's the best season, but I've seen the show 8 times and I love it. And I'm starting to kind of understand a little bit better where that comes from, which is season 1 feels like a family drama in a prison. And whenever we stay in that family drama, I'm totally here for it. And when we kind of veer outside of that to the larger,
harder
conspiracy of it all. And actually, I realize this may sound a certain kind of way because I'm saying it to you, but it actually feels like when we lost Kellerman as the face of that, it became harder to connect to because Kellerman was so specifically connected from the beginning. And now I'm like, where have you been? Where?
And also Kellerman, the figuring out who that guy was your connection to Reynolds, to Stedman, to this larger conspiracy, and then his part of it unravels. I mean, it was very human. There are a lot of company people now who seem a little bit like they don't have, backstory kind of things.
You had a sister, you had a life,
and he
and he was
a true believer, and he kind of became, and he switched sides. I mean, the Rappaport thing in season 2, we'll get there. Michael Rappaport's character, we'll see if that ends up holding water.
Yeah.
In terms of an interesting character. But I think I totally know what you're saying, and that's kind of what I was trying to say about seasons 3 and 4. Seasons 3 and 4 become almost like they're action dramas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because in Die Hard, you don't care about what the bad guy's backstory is. You don't want to get to know his family. Whereas
it's almost like,
you care.
It's almost like 24, where it's like,
which I didn't see.
Well, it's like, these are the pieces, nobody ever goes home. I mean, it's
Right,
24
right.
hours, but like,
Right.
there is no relationship other than who you're working with, because it's really like, it's really like, you know,
It's immediate.
yeah, and it's like national security emergency. It's like a war movie. It's like you're not invested in these people outside of this mission that they have.
Yeah. And weirdly, you get invested with Kellerman because you see sides of him that are profoundly human.
Yeah, and the show also had a pace at that point, you know, where you followed him and you were like, what? Why is he here? Who's he talking? Wow, he's talking to the Vice President of the United States. That's weird. You know, there are all these little things that you just burn those steps now. It's just everything is like, you know, the general is like such a huge. We talked about this during the rewatch. It's such a huge conspiracy. It's so you know, that it is hard to keep it specific, and maybe it wasn't the point to keep it specific. The idea was you're up against this global octopus.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the other thing that happens with Kellerman in season 2 that colors the way I see the company now is we see everything he did for them, and then they cut him out in the cold. And granted, he's the one who turns, but it's almost like watching the bad guy turn on the machine that made him.
So fun, yeah.
It's a ton of fun to watch, but then to follow the machine, not the guy, ultimately feels less interesting. And I understand that, like, you know, you were on another show and other things were happening.
They killed me.
They killed. Well, they sort of killed you. There's a, you know, we've all been killed, but yeah, there's that whole death thing. It's interesting to see, and I find myself even sort of feeling for the job that some of the actors have playing these company operatives when you're like, man, this character could be fascinating if we had the time to get to know them a little bit better and it wasn't already such a crowded field of having to service.
It's a crowded field too. That's a good point.
All these people and 13 episodes. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Cress Williams is, well, we get one guy. Great.
But he's coming.
Prison Breaking with Sarah and Paul has been brought to you in partnership with Hulu. Thank you, Hulu.
Thank you, Hulu. Your hosts have been inmates Sarah Wayne Callies and Paul Edelstein.
Our warden is producer Benjamin Haber.
Cutting us up in the prison yard is Kevin Mackler.
Frontman for our Jailhouse Rock Band is yours truly, Paul Edelstein.
Prison industry staff Ariel Zhu and Ro Brooks work on our socials.
Prison Yard tattoo artist, logo brand designers, John Nunziato at Little Big Brands. Check them out at www.littlebigBrands.com.
You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Prison Break Podcast. Or you can email us at pbpodcast@caliber-studio.com. Or you can call us and leave us a voicemail at 4013-PBREAK.
Prison Breaking with Sarah and Paul has been a Caliber Studios production.
It sure has. Bye, everybody.
Top
Thanks
of form,
for
bottom of form. Bye.
With
Thank
us
you.
for season 3. We'll see you.
It was season 4.
For season 4.